Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show today. Today, we are going to make you masters at selling successfully on Amazon. So many people have so many questions about how to succeed in this space. And with us today is a very special guest, Kirtsy Verity. Now, Kirsty is the CEO of Amazon Businesses and co-founder of Real Coaching. Now, she radically changed her life from corporate marketing director to entrepreneur. And after a 20-year corporate career, she now runs her own successful multi-million-dollar Amazon business and co-founder Real with Isaac Kuhlman. So Real is dedicated to coaching Amazon sellers to develop their business with the right strategies to achieve their financial and freedom goals. And they specialize in taking sellers who are stuck or plateaued in their business and breaking through to reach the real success they desire. Now, Kirsty is a serial traveler and adventurer and loves to fuel her life with her business. Kirsty, welcome to the show today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, congratulations on your success. A lot of people try to succeed on Amazon. You've actually done it, so congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think one of the core things that I really start to focus on was just simplifying everything, right? Because there's so much you can do on Amazon. So I'm sure if there's a lot of people listening are going, yeah, I've either tried it or I've looked into it. There's so many different ways that you can succeed. But I think the core path on Amazon, but also in business in general and life in general, is just to simplify everything down as much as possible and also have a target to aim for. Because usually if you don't have that target, you end up kind of chasing your tail like, the old dog chasing its tail round and round and running around in circles, which I've definitely felt in the past. And as soon as I feel like that, I think, what's the simplest thing I can do to be able to make this successful? So that's the core thing that I always strive to achieve.
So how do you do that, if you don't mind? I mean, how do you come in, and how did you come in from the beginning and, coming from corporate life to this, and how did you kind of create a system of simplicity to succeed?
So I think even though I hated corporate life in the end, I learned a lot in that process. So generally in big corporates, the things that really annoy you actually really help you out in small business. So things like being able to understand and set a real goal. So one thing that I really focused on up front was, how much money do I actually want to make from this business? So I know that sounds very simple, but essentially it's actually really understanding what you need. So I had this corporate job, I had a great salary, and originally I was like, I just need to replace my salary. And it felt like a massive mountain that I had to climb. But when I actually sat back and thought about it, because essentially why I wanted to start my own business was the ability to travel. And at the time, I lived in Australia, very close to Asia, love Asia Pacific. And I was like, actually, if I just kind of traveled around Asia, then I won't need that much money, as much money as what I need to actually, live in Australia. So I ended up kind of paring down a lot of the things that I was spending my money on, the non-essentials, right? And realizing that I probably just needed less than half of what I was actually earning. So once I kind of like lowered the mountain a bit, that felt a lot more achievable. And I was like, okay, so, and usually when I speak to most people, what they're really striving for is to get that kind of first $5,000 income per month from their business. So I say, okay, well, let's just start from that point and work up from there. So if we just take some general parameters, again, you haven't even started the business yet, but let's take some general business parameters. We want to aim for at least 20% net profit. So that's profit after everything, that you spend on the business, advertising, etc. So let's work on that 20% net profit. So if I want to make 20% net profit at $5,000 per year, and then I also want to invest back into the business. So another rule of thumb that I took was, okay, I want the $5,000 myself, and I'm going to invest $5,000 back per month. So therefore, I'm going to need $10,000 profit per month. And at a 20% profit margin, that takes me to $50,000 in sales per month that I need to make to be able to achieve that goal. And so once I kind of had that in my mind, I was then saying, well, okay, well, when I start to research products on Amazon, there's actually quite a lot of tools out there that help you figure out how much each product is actually going to make you in terms of a monthly income. Not necessarily the profit side of it, but it'll tell you exactly how many sales that each of those products are doing. So once I was doing my product research, I was easy to say, well, if I launch this product, this product, this product, that's going to get me to that $50,000 income. And then it's my job to be able to work on the profit margins with my suppliers and things like that to achieve that 20% net profit. So really starting with the goal, working backwards and going, which products are actually going to lead me to be able to achieve that goal. Same with any other e-commerce business or any other business. How many customers do I need to be able to achieve that income goal?
So, but you hit on a really important topic. I mean, Amazon, they can sell anything. So how do you really hone in on the best products to sell on Amazon?
I think there's so many different categories, right? There's so many areas, so much opportunity. So it's almost like overwhelming. So one core thing that I always teach people is to think about an area that you actually enjoy, or you know something about, or that you just want to know more about, right? So for me, that was fitness. So I enjoyed going to the gym. I'm not like a fitness junkie, but I do go like 5 times a week. And I enjoyed being fit. I knew something about it. And I thought to myself, is this something that I want to kind of talk about in the next, 2-3 years and beyond? So it was. So then that really focused me in that category. And I started to think about, well, okay, what kind of trends are in that category right now? That point, CrossFit was a big trend. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to find products that are going to fit CrossFitters. And I know that that's something that I won't mind, putting my time and my brain and my effort into. So that's essentially what I did. And then I teach other people to do the same thing. So for a lot of people, that might be, I enjoy cooking. Awesome. What kind of things do you enjoy cooking? Do you enjoy entertaining? Okay, great. Well, let's build a brand around that. Okay, well, I enjoy travel. So let's build a brand around that. And then we start to build a brand around an ideal client, and we search for products in that specific niche.
So you find something you're really interested in, that makes a perfect sense. But then if you find products, I mean, so far what we're saying is an educated guessing game. So how do you have the courage to actually invest in the products if you're really unsure if you're going to be able to sell them or even make a profit on them?
Well, there's a lot of data out there that you can actually glean from Amazon itself. I use a tool called Jungle Scout, which it's like a product research tool. So essentially, it's a plugin that you can download from Google, and when you get the little kind of logo and it gets onto your search bar there. So download that tool. Go on Amazon, and literally, if you think about, so in my case, for instance, okay, I'm into fitness. What kind of products would a CrossFitter want? So let's think jump rope. So you would go in and you would type in what we call the keyword, the thing that someone's going to type in to essentially try and find that product. So you would type in jump rope. Essentially, first page results come up, or lots of different results come up on Amazon. You hit the little Jungle Scout button, and it actually brings up for you all the data for all those products for the last 30 days. So it's all the monthly sales, the monthly units, the price point, the amount of reviews that category has. And so what you're able to do is actually start to think about, well, okay, if I hit that page 1 search result for that main keyword, then I can essentially achieve like a median result of all these different sellers on page 1. And that's what we use to be able to kind of set our first forecasts. Once we have that idea, we can then look out on a website like Alibaba.com, which you may have heard of, where you can find source, basically people that you can source this product from in China. And you can get like different ideas of what the product is actually going to cost you. And that way you can start to build, okay, well, if I can sell it at this price point, I can sell X amount of units. What cost do I need to buy it for to be able to achieve the profit margin that I want to achieve?
Then from that point, now you've made a decision of what to sell. Then how much of an investment does it typically require for somebody to jump in, buy the product so they can actually sell it on Amazon?
Well, it really depends on the product, right? So, but what I would suggest, if this is a first product that you want to launch, go for something that is low cost, right? By that, it's a low cost price point. It's also low cost for you. And the volume, you probably might be looking at around 10, 15 units a day. Because what I would suggest is that you don't want your first product to be the one that you put all your money into. So ideally, think about your first product launch, or the first order that you make is around, say, $2,000, $2,500. So that's essentially how much money you're going to spend on actually getting the product to Amazon. And then you probably want another $2,000 to be able to invest in that product up front. So ideally, when we first work with people and they've never sold on Amazon before, we say you want at least a $5,000 investment, which will cover the cost of the product itself and also the cost to launch the product.
Hmm. Interesting. What about branding? I mean, I see some people go white label, some people don't. So what do you recommend? Are you selling other people's products, or are you buying stuff and then kind of rebranding it with your own logo and things and then selling it as your own?
Yeah, so I really recommend private label, mainly because the margins are way better. And also what you're doing is you're building a business for the future. You're building a brand. All the effort that you're putting into that first product, you're then going to take all that effort and then put it into subsequent products. And then also you're building a business for the future that you could potentially sell one day. So right now, the probably life cycle of the Amazon business in terms of a solopreneur is probably 3 to 5 years. And then at that kind of 3-year mark, people are then starting to sell their businesses. And they're very profitable right now to be able to sell. So for instance, I know quite a few people that have sold, for $1 million plus their first Amazon business, and then they take that cash to reinvest it into either, other opportunities or just restart another Amazon business.
Hmm. Do you have an outside website as well? Is that what you do and recommend for your students, or do you do all the selling on actual Amazon?
I do all my selling on Amazon. I did try and flirt with going off of Amazon and starting my own website, but it's a whole different business model. Because if you think about it, on Amazon, what we love about it is the fact that Amazon do a lot of the hard work, right? So they're investing in bringing customers into Amazon every single day, millions and millions of customers. And our job as an Amazon seller is to have great products with a great listing that converts those customers. So as a typical, a great listing on Amazon. So for instance, a lot of my products, they convert at like 40%. So as someone actually lands on the listing, 40% of those people are actually going to convert to a sale. On a website, at best, like if you're doing excellently, it's around 3% conversion. Plus, then you also have to invest in all the traffic that gets people to the website in the first place. So I've invested in probably $50,000 to $100,000 trying to get people off of Amazon onto my own website. But with the products that I have, the profit margins that I have, the amount it costs me to get people there and then convert them is just cost prohibitive. And it's also a lot of time, it's a lot of distraction. So having done that, we call it diversifying your business rather than diversifying your business. Just sticking it on Amazon, understanding how the Amazon platform works, means that not only are you going to make, obviously, some great cash profit margins, but you're also going to have a much simpler life and a much simpler way to actually run the business.
So I love Amazon. My average is less than 42 seconds. I literally time why I love Amazon of how long it takes me to buy something. So I'm one of your 40% conversion, but that's because I'm buying the stuff that shows up at top, right? So I find the stuff Amazon recommends and I go and swipe and I'm done. So how do you get ranking? What do you do to get your ranking up where you can get that 40% conversion and actually be seen?
So you really need to get good at, number one, understanding the customer, which is why it's always great to, start with that in the first place. And then you need to get good at understanding what kind of keywords, what kind of things people are going to type into Amazon to actually find your product. And again, there's lots of tools out there that help you with this. Amazon also has a tool itself. It's called Amazon Brand Analytics. So once you actually start with a seller account, Amazon actually gives you all the keywords that you could ever think of, and it gives you what they call a search rank frequency. So how often people are searching for those keywords. So there's a ton of data out there that you can actually use. You take those most searched keywords and you actually put those into your listing. It's like SEO for your Amazon listing. And then you also use those keywords and you use the advertising platform that Amazon has. They call it Amazon Sponsored Ads. Essentially, if you've ever run ads like Google Ads, you're bidding on keywords that the customer wants to see, and you want to bid, good for those keywords or high for those keywords, because you want to show up on page one, as you said. So if I've got jump rope again, I want if I'm just launching my product, I'm not anywhere to be seen right now. So I want my ad to be top placement so that you're going to click on it, you're going to be interested in it, and then you're going to buy the product. The more you get those clicks, the more you get those buys, then the quicker that you go up organically in the rankings for that product. And then you can then optimize your ads back down again.
Are you using other advertising? Are you using Google AdWords, using Facebook ads? Or because I've heard that Amazon, you work better if you're sending outside traffic to that listing, whether you have Facebook groups, emails. So do you have strategies like that where you're sending outside traffic to your Amazon listing to get it to rank higher?
No. I used to. I tried again, all that stuff. And then again, it just felt like it was taking me away from the core of what I actually really wanted to do. So to simplify my life, simplify the business, and get really good at one thing, I just really focused in on Amazon sponsored ads and really understood how they work so that I can actually use what's on Amazon. And because the more you spend with Amazon, the more love you get from Amazon as well. So they then start to retarget you. So not only the spend, but the more sales you get on Amazon, they start to retarget you off of Amazon. So sometimes you might see an Amazon listing pop up on Facebook and things like that. It's actually Amazon that's spending that money to get people to your listing. So I actually do all the work on Amazon so that Amazon end up doing that outside traffic for me.
Do you pay for sponsored ads?
Yes, you do. You bid on it very similar to a Google ad style thing where you set up keywords that you want to bid on, and then you can bid as much as you want on those ads to be able to get the placement.
So in order to do this, and you've mentioned several times, you really have to know your margin. You have to know what you can spend and what you stand to make. How do you track your actual accounting stuff with the Amazon business? I'm curious.
Yeah, so we have essentially, I just use QuickBooks, something like that basically downloads all the information. We get paid by Amazon every 2 weeks. So we get that downloaded every couple of weeks. And then that goes into an accounting system that I have a bookkeeper that, that looks at all that stuff. And then the other key thing to really understand about Amazon sponsored ads and how much we're spending, again, I would just download the report from Amazon every week and then see how we're tracking versus what my forecast was. So it's very simple. I mean, at the end of the day, Amazon is a great platform, not only for obviously launching the business, but it's also got a lot of data. I know when I worked in corporate, it used to take us like 6 to 8 weeks to get real data that we could actually use to be able to optimize things. But yeah, Amazon's got all that down. All the usual things like Xero or QuickBooks plug straight into Amazon so you can download reports as soon as you need them.
Reviews. I hear a lot about it. I'm not a review guy. Like I don't look at reviews on Amazon before making a decision. I like Amazon just because I can go buy stuff and it's simple. But it seems like reviews has something to do with it. So do reviews have anything to do with your ranking?
They don't have anything to do with your ranking, but they do have something to do with your conversion. So, the better reviews that you have, the more reviews that you have, it just looks like you belong there. So if you think about if you're looking for a restaurant or you're looking for something like, when you on TripAdvisor, right? You're more likely to potentially go with the one that's got more reviews and that's got a better star rating. And so that's what you're trying to achieve on Amazon as well. So when we're looking at which products to go into, that's an area that we do look at because you don't want to go into a market that's basically saturated. They've got pretty much every competitor on page one is like 5,000 reviews. Well, it's going to take you a long time legitimately to get those reviews. So you want to be looking at a page one search results that have got, less than 500 reviews each, because that at least when you get to about 50 reviews, you're still going to look good, and you want a great quality product because that's what's going to get you the great reviews as well. So it's a mixture of quantity, but quality counts more. And that's more and more the weighting that Amazon places on ranking as well. If you've got more quality versus quantity, then that's also going to get you better placement as well, especially in your ad position.
How do you get reviews? I've never reviewed anything on Amazon, and I buy a lot of stuff from Amazon, a lot, and I don't review anything. So how do you get reviews from people when you're just getting started?
So you can do things in your packaging where, you can ask for feedback. So you don't ask directly for a review because that is against Amazon TOS, terms of service. But you can ask your customers to give you feedback, and then you can work with them through email to be able to say, hey, would you mind, leaving that as feedback for us? The other key thing is you can actually have your own customer service team. So there is an email system within Amazon itself, and just follow up with great customer service. So one key thing that we like to encourage people to do is offer things for free. So things like, it could be, for me, for instance, offer great workouts that go with the product, that you will send to them on an email afterwards. And that great kind of follow-up and customer service means that they're more likely to give you a review, because you're kind of starting to build a relationship with them. So it's not necessarily as direct as send us a review, please. It used to be that back in the old days, but now it's about building a relationship with your customer. So the first team member that I actually hired was a customer service person that would follow up with each customer, make sure that they've got a great service over and above what they'd get from any other Amazon seller. And that kind of like naturally leads for them to leave a review. There's also another button that you can actually use within Amazon itself, where on each product you can request feedback and request a review. And there are automated tools that help with that as well. So essentially you can just click one button every week and it will send a request a review to through Amazon system to your customers, which makes it very, very easy for them to leave you a rating as well.
Do you sell a lot of different products on Amazon?
Right now, I only sell 10 products.
Wow.
So I got up to about 20 products. But again, what I found was that actually all I was doing was diversifying, but in the wrong way. So it's a bit like when I worked in corporate. I used to work on toothpaste, right? So, like Colgate toothpaste. You think about how many SKUs there are out there of toothpaste, but only 20% of those SKUs bringing 80% of the profit and the revenue. It's the same way, I think, with any business. 20% of the clients are going to bring you the most money, right?
Right.
So just really paring everything back and optimizing everything well in terms of the products that really start to bring me in the profit and also bring me the top line revenue. By doing that has just meant that I'm not spinning too many plates, and I'm actually really, really focused in on the ideal client and the customer. So I kind of went from small to big and then kind of brought it right back again. So that's another tip for a lot of business owners, is when we start to, add in a lot of different products, no matter what kind of business you're in, whether it's physical products, you might be in information products and things like that. Adding too much means that your focus is completely diversified and you don't do anything well.
Did you start with just one and get it right and then expand from there?
Yes, exactly. So one of my key expansion strategies was actually to launch into different marketplaces with the same product. So I'm in Australia, and there was no Amazon platform in Australia then. So wherever I was selling, it was never really where I was living. So my first market was the US. And I was like, okay, well, if this works in the US, I'm sure it's going to work in the UK. So I looked into the UK market, and then I just took that same product and launched it into the UK market. And then from there, expanding into Germany and then into the rest of Europe. So one product across lots of different marketplaces means that, you've only got one source of supply, you're dealing with one factory, but you've got, you've basically doubled the amount of people that you can actually sell that product to.
Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from England.
From England? And then you live in Canada now?
I live in Canada now, and I lived in Australia for a long time, and then I met my husband doing this job, and he's from Montreal in Canada. Yeah, so I've ended up here. So I'm literally going.
I love it. Yeah, you're from the UK, selling products in the United States while living in Canada. Like, you gotta love e-commerce. It's fantastic.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So what are some other tips that you give your audience of ways that you can successfully start, grow, and scale on Amazon?
Yeah, I think the first thing is just be patient, right? Do your research well. So make sure that you have all the numbers right before you launch your first product. Don't fall in love with a product that you want to sell, because I see a lot of people doing this. They're like, oh, I think that would sell awesome on Amazon. Great, but if it's not actually going to make you any money, just don't launch that product. So as I said up front, think about an area that you enjoy. You don't necessarily need to be an expert. You just need to care, right? That you actually enjoy this thing. Exactly. Don't launch something just because it sells well and you're not aligned to it in any way. Do that first, then search for product. Use the tool that I spoke about, Jungle Scout, which will help you actually do some of that research. Then understand how much that product is going to cost you. Make sure you've got enough profit margin. So we like to aim for at least 35 to 40% gross margin. And then make sure that you've got enough money to be able to launch it on Amazon. So one way to be able to do this is when you're actually actually open a seller account on Amazon, a professional seller account, you can actually go in there and put in the keywords that I talked about earlier into the sponsored ad platform, and it will give you suggested bids on how much those keywords are going to cost you. So you can actually then work out, well, if I've got a launch campaign, I'm going to launch this product, it'll probably take me maybe 8 weeks at selling on sponsored ads to get me up to that page one position. You can actually work out with the suggested bids how much is actually going to cost you to do that. Do that up front before you launch. That's going to make your life so much easier because you're going to know exactly how much money you need to invest to make that product successful. And then repeat the process. Optimize and repeat the process.
Kirsty, you guys we went over so much. You do so much to help people in this space. So talk to me more about that. What does it look like to work with you to actually get help with succeeding on Amazon?
Yeah, so we actually have our own podcast, which is called Sprint to Profit. And we go out every week with just some free information, free tips on how to actually get started. And then we have our own coaching program. So we've got 2 key signature programs. And what we've realized in this space is that just having information doesn't actually get you the result, right? So we actually spend the time working with people, helping them choose their products, helping them understand their profit margins, helping them understand how much money it's actually going to make them. We'll actually say, that's a great product, that's a rubbish product. We'll actually then help them build their listings and actually launch the product and have the whole launch plan set out. And that's like a 90-day program that we do called the Sprint to Profit. And then we also have an annual program where we work with people to basically hit their annual goal. And again, this is all kind of implemented with you, with myself, with my business partner, Isaac Kuhlman, and also the coaches that we have within Real Coaching as well. We have about 4 to 5 coaches that work with us as well.
Awesome. Where can everybody go that's listening and watching to learn more about selling successfully on Amazon?
Yeah, so go to www.goteamreal.com. As I said, the podcast is Sprint to Profit, so you can go and have a listen to that. And then I'm just Kirsty Verity everywhere on social. So if you want to connect through any social platform, it's pretty easy. So yeah, Kirsty Verity.
Kirsty, thanks for coming on today. I loved having you as a guest.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
So listen, we went over a lot in a very short amount of time, and there's a lot more to still learn. We just scratched the surface on some of this. We just talked about kind of the 10,000 foot view of a strategy that can easily help you gain a 7-8 figure business. But to really learn more, there's so much more to learn. Go to goteamreal.com. That's goteamreal.com. I'm going to put that link on the show resources page so you can learn more about running your own successful Amazon business. So again, the action to take to get started with running a 7-8 figure Amazon business is go to goteamreal.com. So make sure you check that out to learn more from Kirsty and her team about the different ways that you can be successful on selling on Amazon. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.